Hello and welcome to yet another Toonkind at 12 FPS. Spec, am once again doing the intro, and all of you who have been listening to anything I do the intro for know what this means. Haha, impromptu loving hours for about 5 seconds before I'm muted. Yeah. Hello, I am Spec, and I am joined today by one of the most just creative. First of all, we're gonna start with the creative. I don't know why we start with the creative, but I have to start with you. But I would like to give a call out to my co-host, who is not only just doing this FPS with me, but also helps run an entire server and one of the co-owners of one of the servers the best servers of the Draft House, in my opinion. And I will stand by that. Where a lot of my FPSs have happened and games will eventually happen, who not only creates all these amazing storylines for us to explore, but also has some really fun characters. One which I actually get to interact with today, and I'm very excited to do so, because not only are they this creative, but they're also very nice, and like I said, and they put up with me, because later listeners will not know this, but this FPS is starting pretty late because I had stuff go on. But yeah, no. So yes, I am joined today by the wonderful, amazing, lovely co-host who may now introduce themselves.
Hi, thanks. I may be a puzzle. Hello. I am Morski, also known as Morskis, and I'm very happy to be here. I hold my lovely lady Detective Moria, and yeah, don't mind me perishing a bit. Thanks, Spec. You're very
Welcome.
nice.
Yes. There's a reason the gallery went, oh, you let Spec do the intro one. They have fallen victim to this.
Now I know.
Yeah.
Now I know. Well, okay, Spec. I want you to know. You are stupid nice, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You're very kind, okay? Thank you.
Okay, well, anyways, you introduced that you are playing our beloved Detective Moria. I am playing our disaster Private Investigator Tome. What could go wrong?
What the bear? Yeah.
I mean, the last
We're just a
FPS went
little
good.
bit of... Yeah. Hopefully this one will as well. We'll see how many lore beats we crash over this time.
Yeah.
But for a little bit of context, rather recently there was a game, Railway to Limbo, where a train crashed into Moria's office. So she can't live there for the moment.
And, well...
Tome was kind enough to offer her a place, so yeah.
Yeah, Tome... Because poor Tome, he doesn't know what's going on, but after Pritch gave him that very thorough talking to, he has very much started to get himself together and is... This is 2 people he's let in his house in, the past... counts on hand, 5 years. So yeah, he's going through it. He doesn't know what happened, but Pritch really knocked some sense into him, I guess, because he's he's trusting people, and by that I mean he's trusted 2 whole people. Technically, if you've listened to the FPS, which released before this, but takes place after this, which, by the way, for those wondering, this does take place before Once Kitten, Twice Shy. This will be important if you know what happens in that FPS.
I do love the thought that at some time after, so she was taking care of the house for those, for the day or two, and when he comes back and she hears the news, she's just gonna smile and just be congratulations.
You're a dad. Boogie, boogie, boogie.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, because it is mentioned in the FPS that he fell asleep accidentally, because he got a really low con roll to stay awake after everything. So he fell asleep, and then he just woke up and sat up and went, Moria, I forgot to text her! And rapidly panic text Moria that, hey, I'm not going to be home, I may have gotten sick, and also the kid got sick, and we're both sick, but we'll be fine.
Yeah, she would have just simply sent a note back. Okay, glad to hear you're alright. Just stay safe, alright? I can come later with soup.
But yes,
a
that's
note.
future
That's
stuff.
for the future.
No, now
Yeah,
we're dealing with the consequences of our actions, and by that I mean our character's trauma popping up in a game.
yeah. Which
Yeah.
I like before this and before Moria would have given Tome a bit of time to prepare, by which it's okay. I need to make sure things are locked up, and also I gotta tell the boys what's happened. You know it. She's talking about Izumi and Camille. Uh, so she goes to handle that, which will give you time to, I don't know, make sure things are all together in the house. What's Tome doing? Moria's just saying hi to the lads.
Well, Tome is absolutely preparing. And aha! I almost forgot to DM the player Pritch, and I just DM'd. And yes, there is an extra bed now in. So his prepping was very much a panic Tome pacing in his house, talking to his pin, like, okay, Pritch, okay, I don't know what I'm doing here. I need an extra bed. I need an extra bed because I cannot expect her to sleep on a couch. No.
um, Tom would not be happy to hear that. Moria is just like, honestly, couch is pretty nice. I've slept far worse.
I want you to know that I hadn't even mentioned the couch to the Doc who plays Pritch, and the quote I just got was, "My boy has a friend staying with him? Of course I'm going to give you another bed. What did you expect her to live on the couch?" So it's very funny that all of us jumped to the couch.
My goodness. I do also love this is two whole people who went, Tome has a friend?
Yeah, I love that we have Camille and Pritch, both the only other people who know Tome, just in genuine shock that there's somebody else who knows Tome, let alone Tome has as a friend, which I think is the funniest thing. I mean, it's in character for Tome. Let's be honest, anybody who knows stuff about Tome would be surprised he has a friend. But still, that's two people who just went, Tome has a friend.
Moria's just standing here, y'all.
Moria voice, why is this so surprising to all of you?
Yeah. Why do I get the feeling Camille would just go, you haven't known him for very long, have you? You'll know why soon.
I mean, did Camille say that? Gallery?
Holy bleep.
Is Moria gonna have to confront Tome? Because I don't think Moria knows that Tome did that.
Oh my goodness.
I don't think Moria knows that why Tome disappeared from Town for a bit.
Yeah, she figured, he's an investigator and a grown-ass adult. He probably has a life and is doing things.
Especially because I think he may have mentioned he's from Toontown.
Yeah. So, she figured, okay.
For our audience, we have been informed that, you can roll insight while I read out the lines. We've been informed that during that conversation post-game between Detective Moria and Camille would have, oh my sweet lordy, that's a 28.
She knows her boys.
Would have implied that Tome had problems with people being close. Motions to why people are surprised Tome has a friend.
And Moria rolled a 28 on her insight, so she's just going, okay.
All of us just staring at the gallery and blinking. We really are just setting up for Tome to get just completely called out.
As a treat. As a treat.
Don't worry, it will be returned. Tome has his own +10 modifier now.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, like hearing that and seeing this, and she knows Camille is really good at reading people. Um, Admittedly, her first thought is, okay, so there's probably some kind of trauma here. And it's just, okay, well, he was still nice enough to let me stay with him, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Well, with that, Tome does manage to get a second bed set up, thanks to Pritch, because there is very much at least a couple bit of
Thank you,
Tome.
beloved.
Oh, for our audience, Detective Moria would be able to tell Tome did something to push Camille away, and he's still just a little salty over that.
I think Moria would hit pet Camille. Just, that's fair.
Yeah. They're gonna have to talk about that again one day, but that's a later problem. I don't think they've actually confronted that, but like I said, that's a later problem. The current problem is Tobe having a decent sized panic and pacing in the room, but he does manage to get a second bed set up, and he can't
You
hide
wanna
it.
say this is right about the time where Moria knocks on the door, like she was given the address. So just like
I don't
there's
know
the
if Tome
knock
would have
knock knock.
given you the address solely because, well, he may have given you address. He probably would have met you somewhere though, because I do point out Tome lives in the like Toon trope of the darker side of town, the poor, however you want to put it. You know, the more rundown side of town.
Yeah.
It has different
Yeah.
terms based off the
Okay.
genre. So Tome
Yeah.
very much lives
Okay.
in the the detective's hard, cold side, the whatever you want to call it. There, I don't like saying poor and criminal in the same sentence, but it's very much that trope, if you know what I mean.
No, that's fair. Like, on her end, it's more a case of then she would ask, okay, where do you want to meet up so you can take me over? Or do you have an address where, like, I go to find you?
He probably would have met Detective Moria, like, not that far from it, like, right where the style started to change. Where it started going from the more
Okay.
brightly colored parts of Toontown to, like, the overly detailed. Because I'm gonna be honest, I've always imagined this part of town in a more painted. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, the exact style I think of it is Oliver and Company. You know that run? Yeah,
Do you have
I will grab a reference of it.
a picture?
Yeah.
Yeah. But okay, no, if that's okay, so like she's waiting. Well, number one, so yeah, this is the address she's been given, so she's waiting over there. When you come over to her, you will note that she doesn't seem especially afraid looking at this, at this style change. If anything, it almost seems a bit closer to what she knows very well.
Oh. I worry about both of them sometimes.
The Metropolis sure is a place.
Yeah. Also, I'm almost done grabbing some examples. For the audience who doesn't know Oliver and Company, it's a very painterly style. It's Disney Renaissance kind of style, mix of Disney Renaissance and stuff like that. But it's very much classic Disney, and I don't know how to explain it. Oliver and Company, I just really like this. I like the style of the background. Somebody showed me it once, and I went, "Ah, yes, this fits."
Oh, I remember seeing that movie. Okay.
Yeah. Me only remember the name of the movie because somebody sent me one of the songs and said this fits Timmy. Anyways, it recently reminded me of the movie, and I've been just thinking about that stuff.
I don't know who they are, but I'm gonna throttle them. Anyways, I have actually watched this movie, so okay, yeah, no, I see what you mean.
It's a fun
This
style.
kind of
I said it's a fun
and honestly, it almost seems like Moria is more familiar in being in a place like this compared to the brightly colored.
Tome kind of notes that actually, and he glances over at you as they start to walk. Which, by the way, I didn't quite get to finish. The only other thing he did besides setting up the bed is he very much would have put his conspiracy boards in the corner, covered them up, and done his best to make them look not suspicious.
So we'll see how well he did that later, I suppose.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Yeah. So yeah, Tome meets you out there, a little bit outwards, and I will say he meets you, like I said, very much where the style starts the shift. And he kind of rubs the back of his neck and says, "Well, I'm glad you made it to Toontown. All right."
Yeah, it was alright. I admit I haven't been here much, but I have been here before, so.
There's a small laugh. Well, I live here, and this is like technically where I am when I'm not in Villestown normally. So,
Okay.
and he's kind of just awkwardly kind of standing there messing with his hands. Poor Tome's just so awkward right now. Before he kind of gives a little nod, like, all right, this way.
Cool. She's gonna follow on with you. Save him that awkwardness and go straight ahead.
Yeah, he very much doesn't talk a lot as he walks. And as they slowly shift into like the more painterly, gritty style of things, he leads you to a building which seems a little run down and goes through the gate, up the stairs, and then he pulls from his hammer space. Come on, please roll the key.
Oh, that's a fumble.
This is going great.
Well, you, the fumble. Well, you roll the fumble.
Yeah.
You note that Moria seems very unbothered by this style change. And just, this almost seems more familiar to her than the general brightness of Toontown, even.
Tone definitely notes that. And he doesn't comment on it, but he does glance over. And I was gonna say it's in the box, but then I remember he did say in the Leo FPS that he hasn't put things in box. Did he say in the Leo? No, he didn't say in the Leo FPS. Would Camille have bullied him into putting things into a box before he let Tome leave? Drop him off. Okay. He pulls out a box.
Okay.
And he sighs and goes, "Oh, no, not the key." And just puts it back.
Let's go.
There we go. The second time, though, he does pull out a key and unlocks the door and moves open it. And it's a instant style shift. The inside of the room is entirely different from the outside, where the inside is very similar to Tone style, actually. It's more brightly colored, more cleaner. It's obvious somebody went through and made this apartment fit Tone rather than the place around. And it's very well done. It's very professional. It's almost like somebody with like godlike powers grabbed Tone by the shoulder and said, "You are not living like this." Huh.
Well, Moria isn't going to judge, but she is gonna look around and, funsies, do you want to roll an insight on Moria?
I will so roll an insight. You can roll a perception as well if you wish.
I would, yes.
That's a 22.
Yeah, okay. You do actually see Moria blink in surprise at the sort of style shift,
Oh,
and then just simply leave it be. Like, specifically, you gauge that, yeah, she is real kind. She has gotten a pretty decent hang of Einquill, but, like, she's still kind of new here. It's still surprising seeing these kind of things.
don't worry about being surprised. This isn't normal. My, patron, helped me fix up the place a bit after a lot of stuff. So, he did
Okay.
his stuff and motions awkwardly to the apartment, and you could tell he's a little flustered.
She just smiles and is like, okay. Yeah, like, she just simply lets it be like, okay, that's cool.
Tome,
His patron seems like a very nice guy.
we all love Pritch here. With a 15,
Yeah.
you are able to get the general layout of the room. There is 2 beds there, a couch, a desk with a gamer chair, a computer, some, and then just boxes and a couple of other things just kind of scattered around the room. Nothing that really stands out.
That's fair.
You do notice there's papers everywhere, but that makes sense. He is a private investigator.
Yeah. Like, how scattered about are the papers? Does she see any of the writing on them?
Oh, I love Tome. I love Tome so much. He tried to clean up. There's still plenty of paper scattered around.
That's fair. I potentially, if there's one just on the floor, she's gonna pick it up and put it on the table where it's like, or at least where it seems it should go.
Yeah, sorry, I hadn't quite put all my notes away.
That's fair. It's took me a little while to get the hang of putting away all of my notes.
Tome is just handing me complete awkward energy right now. Just kind of rocking on the heels.
Moria is admittedly looking at that. It's a combination of she's just standing here, sir, and like, okay, how do I break the awkwardness?
Poor Tome is not used to talking to people, let alone them near his house. The only person he's ever let into his house before is Camille, and the kid was sick, so his awkwardness was taken over by, like, panicked worry. And the moment Camille started feeling better, Tome slipped into awkward.
It's fine, it's fine. But hey, like, she's just gonna then check what is where, like, which is the bed she's taking over. Is there a specific place that would be good for her to take her stuff? Because, like, she's also real kind. She has brought her stuff that, like, she has in a bag.
Yeah, no. There, I'll say the bed closer to the end of the room, probably. So this way Tome's bed was next to his desk. It's a notable distance from Tome's. I do not actually know how big this apartment is. It's Toon Logic. It's as big as it needs to be.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Rich went in and did Toon Logic stuff. I don't know. I don't know what Rich's capabilities are.
Well, he is the gamer, DT. We can fold this under. He opened up the Sim screen and made an apartment.
Yeah, very much put Detective Moria's bed far enough that she would have enough room for any of her stuff in her own space and everything. So there is very much a corner of the apartment set aside for her. I also forgot to mention there is a bathroom and a kitchen, which go off from the main area.
Okay, yeah, cool. She's just gonna casually note that, like, set her stuff on a side and probably sit on the couch.
Do
Maybe
you,
pull out a book.
do you want any tea or food or coffee? You can tell he's never done this before.
That's fair. Like, you do see Moria think, and, like, she'll say yes to the tea, and, don't. Yeah, I'm just going to. Okay, so you don't hear her stomach rumble, but she does think and go, actually, I didn't eat anything after the case. If it's alright, could I ask for some food?
Well, of course. And Tome actually brightens a bit at that as he moves over towards the kitchen area. And Tome, beloved. Nope, we're rolling twice because he's gonna notice that one once Sauron's gonna do it for himself. There we go. He tries to make some. Use a tea, right?
Yeah.
Okay, he tries to make some
Moria's
tea,
a tea person.
and it does not go as planned. And so he puts that to the side, and he gets another one. And the second one goes very well. He learned a lot from the first mistakes. But,
Hey!
so he takes the second one and places down in front of Moria, and then he takes the first one, and I'm gonna roll a deception to see how well he hides it. The first one did not go as planned. Because on top of that, Tome's a coffee person. He's not a tea person.
Moria physically cannot, like, not see that.
Oh no, I'm gonna flavor this wonderfully. Tome takes one sip and then spits it to the side in a cough. Okay, just don't make tea that way.
Um,
Yours is
I
better.
don't know. Are you
I did something different with yours.
No, I can tell it's very nice, but maybe you just want to put that one to the side then.
Yeah, Tome just places it to the side and goes, I'm gonna go make me some coffee.
All right. More of a coffee person?
He nods, and it's not the best coffee, but he does make a decent coffee, and he nods as he works on that. I've always been more of a coffee person. He kind of motions to himself, detective genre, tune logic.
I
Didn't really have a
suppose
lot of
so.
choice on that one. And it said it with a small laugh.
She snorts. I mean, you're not the only one. Azumi's rather fond of coffee himself, and despite the fact that Camille probably shouldn't have that much coffee, he likes it quite a bit too.
Want an insight, Tome? Because you
Of
mentioned
course.
2 names he's very familiar with. Oh, that's a 19.
That's a 19.
Okay, Tome, how well do you hide it?
This specifically, he.
I'm sorry, I'm just staring in shock. You don't really see anything in reaction to the first one. He's very, very neutral faced. While he listens to you say that, as he's just taking the information in. When you say Camille, though, he does give a small snort and shake of his head and goes, yeah, no. He keeps trying to have coffee around me. I keep making him have to drink hot chocolate.
Yeah. Hot chocolate's a good alternative. Especially when you make it sweet.
He nods. I don't know how they make it at the Painted Lady, but the kid seems to like it a bit there.
It's, they make it a bit sweeter than most places. I admit I'm rather fond of it myself, too.
A bit sweeter. He takes a note of that. If the little detective comes by again, then I'll have to do my best to try and make it sweet. He is very much not having any coffee.
It's, like, honestly speaking, Moria is also just a little bit amused, like, another one that, like, Camille has won over. Because she's noting how you're making sure to remember this, and she's like, alright, that's cool.
Moria voice. Ah, I see another one fallen.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, she's gonna enjoy her tea. Probably chat a little bit more. Is
Tome
there
definitely
anything
is
Tom wants to
relaxing.
do?
Anything Tome
Oh,
wants to do.
well, is
On
there
it,
anything Tom wants to do, or like ask her while they're just vibing?
I don't think Tome's gonna bring up the train just yet. Just because he doesn't know how you bring that up. Tome's not used to
That's
talking about
fair.
stuff. You think he's used to communicating? Oh, he's a detective.
Oh no. But consider she did promise to tell you her reaction to something, specifically Vincent's
Yeah.
not being used to tunes. So theoretically he could ask her about that.
I have a
She
feeling
did
he
say she
would
would
ask
be.
it, but it would probably be the day after, very much a this is not a first day in here.
No, that's fair. See, now I'm just imagining time skip. It is now the morning.
Basically.
Just like I'm gonna say that Moria helps with the breakfast, and like she's a pretty decent cook actually.
I can roll an advantage. Let's see. How good of a breakfast do they make?
Oh no.
They make a good breakfast together.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm gonna flavor that as Moria is not used to Toon kitchens. You you get the sense that yeah, she is very much a real kind. Wherever she was before, she did not see many Toon things.
Especially mixed with the other thing. Yeah, Tome's gonna bring it up at this rate. So, yeah, they make. You go.
I know, just simply breakfast is made, and it's pretty picking good.
Yeah. They were. It's very much a good team effort there. And so they make the breakfast and they sit down to eat. And Tome kind of picks his food awkwardly for a second before going, so, how long have you been in Inkwell again?
Let's see, how many months has it been? Almost half a year?
Tome blanks. And were there a lot of tunes where you were before that?
No, I suppose you didn't hear about this. I come from a place called the Metropolis, and I'll be honest, the impression I'm getting it's very far and rather isolated from here. No tunes there.
Tome
No
kind of
being
nods. I'm gonna.
It's
You go.
she's actually going to pause and then add on to um for beings that speak and just do things around here. She waves her hand. I've only met humans, honestly. Uh, haven't met haven't been to any centaurs or living robots back home either.
Tone kind of blinks a bit in surprise at that because he's used to like some real kind not knowing tunes, but only ever knowing humans either. You don't even have to insight that. You can read the surprise on his face.
Yeah.
That must.
She,
Yeah.
Moria sees that surprise and she's just like, yeah. kind of the theory that kind of why there's a theory that it is very secluded.
Tome nods at that and processes this before giving a small nod. Well, I'm glad that you're here now. I mean, he kind of motions around. I think Inkwell's a pretty great place to be.
Uh, she does actually smile at that. Like, yeah, it's I do miss the people back home, but living here has been a lot kinder to me.
Tome smiles softly at that. Did you have family back home?
Uh, not quite, I suppose, but I
A
had
friend?
some close friends I could call family, I suppose.
There's a nod and a smile at that. Oh yeah, I'd understand why coming here it's mixed emotions then.
She just simply hums at that.
You, I'm gonna make a whiz check and see if he's gonna bring up the other. Low means he brings it up. High means he doesn't. Okay, so there is a pause and a little bit of silence before he does kind of glance up at you. Is that why you understood when the other person didn't seem to recognize tunes?
Yes, it's honestly it reminded me of how I first came to Einquell.
How did you first come here?
Well,
If you don't mind me asking, I'm sorry, I shouldn't be prying.
it's alright. Well, like she just waves a hand. We'll be talking more anyways. Like, I do ask you don't speak about this, like, all over the place, but I
There's a
don't mind
snort.
sharing.
I am not wanting to talk about other people's secrets. I am a private
You know,
investigator after all. It is kind of my job to not let people know what I know.
she nods and thanks. Uh, and, well, I suppose how it started was a case back. Uh, I suppose it's the first aberration case, or first aberration case I know. People were going missing. And, well, I'm a detective, so I went to look into it.
Tom nods as he listens.
Moore is actually pausing, and you can see she's thinking, how does she speak about this?
There's a
There was.
Go.
Now you can go first, because this is what I'm gonna say is gonna be continuing the story.
There's a pause as Tom kind of hold kind of looks. Take your time if you even wish to speak. I understand it's sometimes hard to explain past.
Did I roll an insight on that?
Sure, go ahead.
14, man, that's a low roll.
I love whenever you're in the AI server, 14s are considered low. All those were the disgusting little modifiers.
Look, look. I think part of being a detective in Toonkind means having at least one disgusting modifier.
At least one. Yeah, no. Tone knows a little bit about that, but you cannot tell if it's because somebody else has done that before to him, or he's done it, or whatever it is. You can just tell
Just
he
simply
genuinely
he has
means it.
experience.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like she just simply notes that before continuing on. There was. Well, it was definitely an aberration. It's kind of odd. It was more item. Well, I say item like more like an object. Um, there was a lot of red liquid inside of it, and is the reason I have this. And she lifts up her left hand, and don't know if you noticed this before, but it's bandaged. In fact, it's been bandaged for a long time.
Tome frowns very deeply at that. So the liquid too?
Yeah, I did. Um, she pauses before unwrapping it, and if you want, do me a medicine check or a perception.
Perception is significantly better than medicine. Um,
Cool. I'll allow you to do that again because I want this to be seen. Bit better. Um, yeah, those are burns. You'd think those are acid burns, but after a moment you catch on that, huh, that's the kind of burn you see from radiant magic. It's it's also in it's like a handprint or like someone was holding her wrist.
Tome sits up at that, looks at it and worry. Oh,
That that aberration was more malicious than the ones we'd seen before.
I'm
Do
glad
you
you're.
want to roll me an
Oh,
insight?
absolutely.
Yeah, that's enough. Moria is a very open person. Uh, unlike the two little detectives that work under her,
Unlike
uh,
any of the detectives she knows.
she's an open person.
The
She
one
doesn't really
detective.
hide her faults that much. If she were not as strong as she is, and I mean that in a she's a strong person. Stat wise, that's a 20 in strength she's got. Uh, if she were any less strong, she might not be here. She has an idea where those missing people may have gone, and you can see those burns.
Tome's lips are just pressed together in a thin line.
Yeah, she's going to cover her hand back up and continue on with. I haven't seen it around here, though. After I managed to break out of its grip, and I got some space, someone, I think there was someone else. I do not know. But it resembles to the teleportation magic I've seen around here, and I found myself in an alleyway.
Tome is very quiet before he goes. Glad you got away, and I'm glad you don't face it alone, especially if that's how the other went.
Yeah, first two cases were kind of a lot, though. Just like a bit of a smirk, and it's nice being have like being stable enough financially that you can get help cases.
Tome laughs, a little awkwardly at that before he nods and goes, "Well, if you ever need help and you aren't in a position where you can afford others, I do still offer my help."
You do earn like she actually smiles pretty gently at that and just thank you. Yeah. Hopefully I won't be in such a state again. It's honestly, I was rather lucky. I faced the first aberration case here in Einquil about a month. after I first came to Town, and I did well enough on that first case that the higher ups decided to give me a place where I could stay.
He kind of goes to the office, I'm guessing.
Yeah, was a little bit run down, but like nothing worse than what I lived in before I was able to patch it up some, and well, it'll need to be patched up again.
There is definitely
But
a
it's a good house.
Tome is definitely noting what you said about it not having to be worse, and then how you didn't react to the area that you're currently in. And he's looking at you with a bit of a soft gaze, but he's starting to connect some dots, which doesn't press on them just yet, but you can tell he's starting to figure out a little bit about where you kind of life.
Yeah. She is just simply going to let that be. She gave him that information. It's his to use.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Was there anything else? Like, those are the specifics of how she came to Einquell.
I
I
ask
think she's
you,
going.
Morski, what do you want to have revealed?
Yeah, I think there's like gonna be a moment, and if like, does Tome ask her anything?
This is why I
Like,
bat my eyes at you. What do you want revealed? Because Tome is very much the type of person who will be very careful with what he asks. Normally, he does tend to be a little stupid around the kid we've discovered. I don't know why, but it's like all his common sense goes out the window sometimes.
cuteness approximity effect. Moving on. Actually, maybe there's a bit of there's like a little bit of talking, and maybe Tone mentions the fact that she's surprisingly proficient with a naginata for a detective.
With the what?
Her lance.
Ah. Yeah, Tome will bring that up, and he's like, where did you learn how to use that? And the reason this makes sense for Tome to bring that up is because I point at Tome's history with weapons. But that's the later stuff. It's
I
very in
enjoyed that.
character for him to be interested in how people learn weapons.
Okay, cool. Um, and to that she answers, well, I wasn't always a detective. Um,
There's very much a blink of surprise.
mm, it's, well, back home they're called menders. There's something like mercenaries over here, I suppose. You generally you can hire. Well, they're paid. You can hire them. There's a contract, and people can be asked for different things, be it say a protection detail, or to find out information.
Tome
I
is very much leaning forward to listen.
um when I was growing up, there was a war. So when I was about 16, I was picked up by a group of menders. Primarily, what we did was fighting. And roll me insight.
Oh, I'm so rolling insight. No.
Do it again with advantage because I want to share this. Dang it!
There we go.
Better.
Rattles Tome and his modifiers are not helpful if I can't get the thing to work.
Yeah, fight. A lot of what she did was fighting in that Mender. She was something between a soldier and a hit woman.
Tome is processing that for sure. You want to insight this?
Sure.
This, let's see, what did you
Have
roll?
my net 20
Holy yeah. You can tell Tome has a lot of mixed feelings on this. On everything for sure. He's not upset with you. That is a notable thing you can tell with that 30, because if it wasn't for that 30, you possibly couldn't tell how he actually felt in this moment. He's not upset with you. He's not blaming you in any way. But you could tell he's not the most. Tome is not a person who seeks out violence, and it shows sometimes. He doesn't quite. He acknowledges that those are lifestyles and that they are important and that they are part of the entire community. But it's very much, you can tell Tome himself would never be a mercenary, never would be able to be, and he's very upset at the idea of somebody having to fight that often.
Yeah, and the fact that she says she was picked up.
Yeah,
You
he
get the
is.
sense that, and with her previous talk, you get the sense that she was an orphan, and she started fighting that early, probably to make sure that you gotta be able to earn to survive.
Yeah, Tome does not like the situation at all. Coming from his background, he had someone take care of him, but very much does not like the idea that Detective Moria had to fight to survive.
Yeah, kind of picked up how that happens.
Yeah, it is, and Tome is very much thinking that.
So she actually pauses
he's
for
doing his best to try and not show that. I'm not keeping roll deception. He can't beat that, but he's trying his best.
Moria pauses before continuing, and when I was about 21, I believe, found out my superiors weren't best, so I quit.
I'm glad.
And about a year after that, set things up so I could try being a detective.
Do you want to insight, by the way, again? Or do you want to just keep the 30? Because you did say something that would have gotten a small reaction out of Tome. I'll let you choose if you want to keep the 30 or you want to do a separate insight.
Can I keep the 30?
Absolutely. Sorry, when people get nat 20s, I always like to let them keep the 30, but I know some people like to reroll. When you said that you quit because of something involving superiors, Tome had a reaction to that. Very much a familiar. It was familiar. You can tell it is not in the same way as yours. Very much so, based off what he's reading in the situation. It is not anywhere in the same way. But Tome understands that.
Yeah. It's that's cool, that's cool. She's gonna quietly note that down. Um you will also get the sense that on her end, well, roll me another insight.
Absolutely.
Yep. You realize with how she emotes, you actually do catch on that back then, becoming a detective, she she decided to pick that up because it seemed like some way she tried giving back to people. You know, a better kind of way compared to all of the fighting.
Honestly, Tom's just glad that, and you can see that she got out of stuff like that
Mm,
into something like Detective.
yeah, but that answers the reason of why
Yeah,
she's so good at fighting.
yeah. Tom's definitely noting this and connecting some dots here and remembering the battle and just going, a lot is starting to make sense.
Yeah, you notice that her fight style is like you will note that her fight style is pretty brutal, honestly. She tries to shut things down as quickly as possible.
I look
Lets
at
that
Tom's
like
fight style. Interesting, tasty, delicious. They really are opposite ends of everything.
it's like ideally want to get it with everyone out alive, but ideally what's most important is that the people under her are okay, and the less they get hurt, the better.
And Tom can understand that. I feel like Tom's not gonna cry, but you can very much tell that he's sitting there in silence, thinking over everything you've said and respecting it and processing it. Processing what he knows about you with it. But there is a sense of how to look at it. That friend kind of soft look you get when you get worried about them.
Aw. Um, honestly, on Mora's end, she's cool to like let him think. She's mostly just glad she didn't scare him away.
Yeah, no, Tone. You can tell Tone was not scared off at all by this.
That's cool. There's kind of a reason why she didn't tell the kids underneath her why, yeah, that's what she did when she was young. When
Yeah,
she was their age.
yeah, no, Tone very much does not seem bothered. Well, he seems bothered, but he doesn't seem like this is going to change how he treats you or acts around you in any way. It's more of this explains things to him that he couldn't quite figure out.
Yeah.
But it doesn't, he's still letting you stay there. He still sees you as a friend. Everything stays the same on that end.
Cool. She's glad with that. It's, I'm guessing it's also a case for Tome of, he he's not bothered by Moria. He's more just upset that that's the situation she was
Yeah,
stuck living
it's
with
very
for
much
the longest
protective
time.
friend. It's very much protective friend vibes. Like if I knew time travel, I would go back and I would personally
Oh.
scruff this kid.
Just like, whoa, adoption. But
Speedrun siblings.
speedrun siblings. Um, but honestly, she's like happy to. I imagine she has got herself more tea, so she's gonna sip on the tea and like wait to see if he has anything he wants to ask, just like in general about that.
Honestly, Tom's just handed me. So you're happy now?
Yeah,
And Tom
I am.
gives a nod. That's the most important part of it.
It's where I am right now isn't where I expected to be, but I don't regret it.
There's a soft smile at that. It's a good way to be.
She's gonna smile back.
I just hold them gently, Your Honor.
Yeah. Same. I'm also hee-hooing in the information I revealed.
You got your plot drop. You got your lore drop.
I'll have fun looking at the gallery later, I suppose. But
There's been a lot of bullying over how much insight we're doing.
cool.
It'd be like an update on
Me too, gallery. To be fair, this is like inside the FPS number, whatever.
Yeah.
I imagine there's going to be some vibing then for a while, and after like Tome's confirmed that that's all that he wants to ask from Moria, she actually has a question for him.
Yeah, I knew this was coming. Hit him.
I noticed you had quite a reaction to the room that wasn't fully created, and it was more than just simply witnessing it. Are you okay after all of that?
Oh, that's a nat 1 on deception. That was a 16 on the whiz save, but a nat 1 on deception.
And I'm just going to continue pulling off of that nat 20 for a little bit more.
Yeah, no, I'll let you. Tone blinks before he looks away, and you can tell he knows exactly what you're talking about. Something about he knows why that room messed with him, and he knows that room messed with him, but he bites his cheek slightly. It just reminded me of something I know of.
Is it alright for me to ask what it is, or would you prefer not to talk about it?
You get Tome doesn't say anything, but writing off that nat 20, you get Tome doesn't. You remember what the kid said. Tome doesn't like talking to people in general. It's not necessarily a you thing as much as Tome doesn't like to talk to people. And while he was very good at listening to you, you can tell just by this little shift into focusing on him, he seems awkward and uncomfortable, as if he's not used to talking about himself. He's not used to being the focus.
Well, too bad, kiddo. You are being listened to.
You can tell, because I'm writing off that nat 1 as well. He doesn't know if he should. There is a mixed thought process behind his head right now, because I hold up. Tome knows that Camille said he should start talking to Detective Moria, because for the audience, this does involve his case. But doesn't know if he doesn't know how to. He's not used to talking about his case. Even with the kid, he barely touched upon it. That was when the kid was just going through his hammer space.
Oh man. Considering Moria got all of that, she actually pauses, and if you need time, don't be afraid to take it, yeah? Go at your own pace.
Tome kind of blinks a bit of surprise at that before he nods. Picks at his food a bit, because it's Toon logic. There's always just enough food for him to pick at. And he stares down at
It's
it.
a special ability of being very charismatic but a bit awkward.
Yeah. High charisma, still disaster. Tome picks at the food for a little bit. There's a sigh. It reminded me something that relates to my. It wasn't even notable. It was just a mix of the headache and all the bright colors.
Moria nods.
I love you, Moria, so much. He is not like you. He is not an open book. You have to poke him. You have to poke him. I'm so sorry, Moria. He is not an open book.
I'm
He is a
imagining
camille
there's
or a zoo. He is like them. He is your detectives who do not like to talk about his emotions.
Moria voice. If I had a nickel for every detective I adopted that did not like speaking about their feelings, I'd have 3 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened, Fries. Anyways,
What you know, the
direct
gallery
call
is now
out
yelling at you
beloved.
in defense.
Direct call out of beloved aside. I'm imagining there's a bit of an awkward silence, and Moria's gonna slightly prod with, "Is it alright for me to hear about the case?"
That's in character for Tome. That's the 23 whiz, which I flavored as I know what I was gonna do if he got high. Tome
Oh?
is very quiet, or he lets out a quiet sigh. I told the little detective I'd let case. You can know about it if you wish. You don't actually have to know. But then he kind of does give a little shrug. I mean, talk about your past is only fair too.
Only if you want, mind you, and well, you've offered to help me with my cases. I think it's only fair if I extend the same hand to you, no?
Here's a small laugh. I I guess he kind of slides the food away, and it's obvious he's lost his appetite a lot. It's strange. You've never seen Tone look quite as old or tired, but also as small as he does right now. His very frame seems to shrink a bit as he kind of just sits there and he picks at his hands. When I first picked up this case, about 5 years ago, there was an incident involving an attack, stiffening a bit. I ended up with a. You go.
No, just simply she's nodding at him to continue.
It. At one point, I got knocked out. I woke. I had a bad headache. Was around. I was next to a dock with this water that iridescent rainbow on that train. Hmm. You go.
Oh yeah, she's just like iridescent. You say, like you can tell she is listening to you. She believes you. You can just kind of get the sense of, okay, yeah, that's weird as heck. What on earth is that from?
Me holding up my floor to all of you. Haha. um.
Moria in character going, that's picked up, like this aberration situation. Okay.
Morski, I do tap the gallery is asking you a question. Want to quickly check that?
Oh? Let me see. I mean, if Camille has bled around her, she would have noticed. But I do not remember that being a thing in game. Like she wasn't around Camille when he would have bled. That's a fair point. I don't. Hmm. Okay. I don't actually remember myself.
Do you want to just roll now?
Um,
Because I know the lore that Fletch is referring to, and
well,
it
I
would make
also know
yeah.
the lore. It would make sense for Moria to know. I'm actually waiting to see what Fletch says.
Yes, we uh for the audience, do enjoy our elevator music while we hmm.
Uh, okay, perception, huh? That's cool. E20 plus 6. Man, that's an 8. That's just rude dice parser. I want the lore.
I think Fletch might just overrule your dice.
Aww,
Yeah,
thank you.
I would you Fletch, would you like me to tell on recording what she notices? Or do we want to just keep that to ourselves? Yeah, you remember when he says iridescent? The only time you've seen something quite similar to that is actually Neil's blood had an iridescent look.
Hmm. She is noting that down and going, hmm.
That's a very particular thing to describe something as a liquid, iridescent.
Yeah. Think
Anyways,
of it for something like, oh, I don't know, clear nail polish.
and not
But like for
water,
water?
blood. That's really weird. Anyways, Tome very much kind of could find it says. So when I was trained in high school, the colors and got a headache, it reminded me a lot. That happened.
You see.
Do you want to roll another insight, or do you want to stay?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I'm always happy to keep the nat 20, but is a 15 enough?
You can tell there's more to that story,
Yeah.
but you can
Well,
very much tell there is a lot of trauma there.
yeah. Well, like how it's been stated before, she's polite. She's not gonna push down on that. That's for him to reveal
I rattle
when he's
Tome, who
comfortable with
refuses to
him.
speak.
I don't know, roll a whiz save for him to
I'm
see
rolling a
if he
whiz.
can.
If he can ramble, I'm gonna see if we can get a ramble out of him. No, Tome. I'm rolling disadvantage.
Roll a disadvantage.
Ah, that's a nat one.
That's a nat.
That's a ramble, Your Honor. I
Oh
mean,
boy.
and he kind of just grabs at his hands. He kind of pushing them back and forth. I mean, it's it didn't help that the train was loud. I don't handle loud noises well because the thing that knocked me out was, and he taps his ears.
Moria blinks at that and it's just, I see. He's also going to note that down for the future so that he doesn't get, like, she'll make sure not to make any particularly loud noises around him.
Kind of nods. Loud, high pitched noise remind me a lot. I do. I do tend to sometimes worry that what attacked me last time is back. So
Uh,
I see it being back. There's only one of it, and I'm sure it's still. I think we should be safe. I should be safe. I think I'm safe. I haven't seen. I've seen lots of other types, nothing like that, and you could tell he's
what
starting to nervous
was.
ramble.
Yes, he's actually going to cut through that then with, what was that? Which attacked you then? And you said it was on an island?
he blinks before he gives a nod. I it was on an island triangle, small island off the coast, not too far Tranquil either. It was very in the middle. I was called there and that's started, but my partner and I were called there. But what attacked us? Three things almost in a way. It was technically the
Okay.
murderer trying to escape, but he used a bird and beetle, which made out. Which you know, beetles can't make noises that knock people out.
Yeah, she's like, I think you can see her face, like, she's clearly wondering, is it some sort of magic beetle? Question mark. Was it a genetically modified one?
Well, one of those is correct. He,
Mm-hmm.
he kind of
Moria might be closer on the dot than expected.
um Tone notices your confusion and kind of just rubs the back of his neck. Goes, will sound unbelievable, but the noise was from the beetle. It was slightly amplified through a gramophone, but table and drums is there
Was
was
it like a modified beetle? I mean,
mutated,
it's
I
probably.
believe, evolutionized. I'm still trying to get the study down myself. I've never been the smartest in biological mutations and evolutions done to a rapid degree, which causes a successful amount of increased abilities in specimens, is very much above my normal level. But I
Huh.
believe what I would call it, just it was mutated to make it more like be through evolutionary, give it a power that would almost be mystical, but it was magic.
Huh. You can actually see Moria thinking and like sounds something like some of the modifications I'd see back home, though those were generally on. Okay.
Did she say that?
Um, she does actually say that.
Tome can probably pick up that you're going to say humans, and he kind of shakes his head and goes, "No, I know how it's done." And you see him look down and stiffen. His eyes saturate to a shade of gray, and the light that's on his outline try and fade for a bit. It's fatal to him.
I see.
You want to insight that?
Yeah, it's there. Also, is there just a blanket nearby?
Ooh, that's a 19. Yeah, Tome, there's grief in that sentence.
Oh.
And I'm going to use a bit of your third beforehand, technically. So, you heard Tome mention at the beginning he went to that island with his partner. You've
Yeah, I
yet to hear
did.
him mention a partner since that.
Yeah, she can connect the dots. And is there a blanket nearby?
Just on the bed.
She's going to go ahead and pull that over and
Tome
wrap him with it.
absolutely jumps slightly at the contact.
She just simply places the blanket on him and is going to like sit back down, but good to see that he's back.
Hmm?
Like, good to see that he's back at least. That
Yeah.
he reacted.
Tome shakes his head. Sorry. Sorry, not the best way to brief someone up on a case like that. Sorry.
Don't worry at all. It's for something like this, I don't blame you.
Nods and just pulls the blanket a little tighter.
She does actually pause and is like, would you like a moment?
There's a small.
Okay. So Tom mentioned he likes coffee.
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna make some for him.
That very much helps, and I will assume by the time you finish making the coffee, you get his tone. It takes a couple of sips, but he seems a lot better. If anything, the white outline has stabilized, and he doesn't seem to be on the
Okay,
edge of a design shift anymore.
that's good. She is glad of that, and also, I imagine there's cookies or something in the house. She has
There's a lot of
not
cinema
so
rolls.
good. She has not so sneakily put some on a plate and shoved some his way.
Tone smiles at that
That's painful.
and takes starts very softly eating. I'll smile. Thank you. Sorry.
It's no problem.
There's a
Uh,
you go.
if you want, roll an insight on her.
Absolutely. I love how we keep going if you want, knowing the other person wants to roll insight. 15.
Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, no. She does not judge you.
That honestly,
Um,
you can see Tome visibly relax. He was not expecting
aw,
this to like not be accepted in any way.
aw, dude. Yeah, no, she does not judge you. I guess for a fun tidbit, you actually get the sense she's used to big sistering a bit.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
like,
I hand you a little brother. They are not siblings.
uh,
We found.
I can't believe it's been like a game in 2 FPSs.
I look
Um,
at these two. They may not say it out loud, but they definitely are starting to lean towards the sibling energies.
yeah.
Can't help it. He's a poor little meow meow. Just that adoptable.
Words to take me to pick out.
We've got to have some humor in the middle of our angst.
Yeah, yeah.
Tone very much after that kind of sits there. And is there anything else you want to ask him?
Mm, let me think. Nothing coming to mind. Anything specific? Any specific lore you might want?
I don't have any specific lore I need out.
Answered.
Um, I love Tome so much. He has a lot of lore, which is not something which can be done in one FPS because similar to
That's fair.
Moria, there is a lot of story behind that. The only thing I think Detective Moria may be able to pick up on is there's two things Detective. There's technically three things, but I would not recommend bringing up Camille's blood in front of Tome. So the two things that Detective Moria could possibly bring up is there is the reaction he had to quitting, and there is whatever Camille was referencing whenever he said he would not let people close.
Oh, see, the thing is, Moria is too polite to say that out loud. Too, she's already connected the dots in the sense that she found out what happened to his partner. He does not like letting people close. She gets the sense that people have ridiculed him. for this
Yeah.
case or haven't believed him, and he's probably scared of letting people close to him again, so that
Yeah, you've
he
summarized Tome's
doesn't
entire
lose them.
trauma. That's it. Congratulations, Detective Moria. You have figured out Tome.
um, so this is what this is what, like, she does not ask that because she figured that out, and she figures then among the same vein that likely he has quit his, like, maybe he worked somewhere else before, who knows, maybe he worked with the police because that is one avenue of being a detective.
I hope
So
that
possibly
actually
he
is it.
quit because
That actually is it. He did used to work for the Toontown Police.
yeah,
She's very much
so
right in
she
her assumptions. He won't say that out loud because he doesn't know that she's picked him apart like this. But yeah, no, Moria, you're summarizing him.
she's just looking at this and the information she got, and she figures that he likely quit, like, because for similar reasons his higher ups did not believe him. He probably wasn't being treated well when he came with this information, so he quit to go on his own way and to finish this case.
You've almost got it. I think you know what happened, Morski, but Moria's almost got it.
Yeah,
But that's future problems. Tom's talked a lot, and he looks very
yeah,
tired by that. Tome talking
yeah.
about just some
So
of his
like,
emotions. I think I'm dying. Actually, now.
yeah, Moria has kind of connected these dots. She sure has heard some things, and Tome looks very tired, so she's not gonna press anymore. Instead, she's going to poke the conversation into something a little bit more lighthearted. Like, so, have you tried the cinnamon rolls at the Painted Lady yet?
Tome sits up before he does a small F. I actually have. That's what the little detective and I did after our first case. We went there because he told me that they had some of the best cinnamon rolls ever. I can't say he was wrong, though. I have found one cinnamon roll, which is better.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Well, are you gonna share?
I will share. He actually kind of nods towards the kitchens. They've got some, and I got some in there. There's this little mouse named Minami who makes these walnut cinnamon. Best things I've had.
Oh?
You can tell when he says this, there's a bit of fondness in his gaze, and it may just be more than the cinema rolls.
Moria is just quietly noting, this must be that Toonkind found family thing. That's cool.
Moria, this must
She
be that
wonders.
Toontown. This must be that
T-
Toon found family thing, not realizing she herself has been found familyed.
yeah. Um, like a stray thought of, I wonder if I'll meet Minami in the future. Seems like a good kid.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously I'll need to contact Comet later.
Yeah.
But um honestly speaking, we've been running for a little while. Does
Yeah.
this seem like a good place to end it?
It is. It's
Just
a very
simply
soft place to end it, and they both got a lot of stuff off their shoulders.
some information was shared. Tome
Yeah,
does actually get the offer from Moria, by the way, of, hey, I'll help you with this case, okay?
that could
Like,
actually be what she's doing during the later Camille and Leo FPS. Is his case is there, and he does trust Moria to not mess with things too much. But if anything, he could have like written up a bunch of notes on it, and she could
mm-hmm.
be reading up on it. He may not tell
Yeah,
her where all the items are, just because trust, of course. And plus, he would want to
that's
be there
fair.
to see how she's processing it. But he probably would have like at least written up a decent sized briefing on the case. You know how detectives get.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, and she's seen how tropes seem to be very present for
Yeah.
toons.
Yeah, so he very much
So
has the trope of wrote up a very detailed. It probably like looked at first like you looked at it, he handed it to you and you were like, "Oh, this is a really tiny folder." It's probably like that trope of like no information at all. And then it was like just like you open it up and it's just like a bunch of stuff is there.
Moria internally like, okay, so this'll probably take a fortnight or two to read through.
Yeah. It's all in Tome's handwriting, which I like to think that the reason it takes so long is entirely because it's Tome's handwriting and his like rambled. You've seen how Tome is. He absolutely thinks in
Yeah,
such a spiral as well. So like the information itself is nothing bigger than your average case, but it's just Tome writing. So and all his little thoughts
that's
and
fair.
theories and little markers. He's got a little red marker everywhere.
That's cool. That's cute. Like she reads through all of it and like takes the time to make her own picture. You will likely find like Moria would have pulled out some empty paper and written down her own notes and what she has noticed and like placed it with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to DM you some the briefings of the case then. Yeah,
Fun, but at this moment in time, at least,
yeah. At this moment in time, at
there
least, I
there
think
there
we're at a
there
good
there
point
is
to
some
end.
stuff.
Yeah, they get
Yeah,
stuff.
there is some stuff, and we're able to like whiz off on these two, sharing some cinnamon rolls and possibly teasing a certain little detective.
Oh, they absolutely are teasing Camille.
So, thank you for doing this with me. This was
Thank
really fun.
you. I had so much fun.
Oh.
I loved getting to hear your the blorbo. I love Detective Moria. I hold her gently, our
Oh,
beloved.
thank you. And I hold Tome very gently too, beloved disaster. And I point at the audience listening right now. You are awesome and fantastic, and thank you for everyone in the future as well listening in.
Yes, thank you. And we hope you have a wonderful time zone. In that case, bye.
Bye bye.